The Tri-State collaboration really began through a conversation between the chiefs for New York State, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island, through which they were determined to not duplicate resources unless we didn't need to, and also come to a common definition of excellence.
The more time people have to engage in the process, the better we become at the process and at generating the type of a decision-making around the quality of our resources that we all want across the country. The focus was really on engaging as many teams as possible in the work to both develop new resources, but also to think about the quality of resources that were already existing.
If all I had was a Tri-State rubric, then I would know what this is supposed to look like. It can be a quick way, it can be a comprehensive way, it can be a tool that drives conversations, but it can also be a tool that really drives upgrades to the way we do school.
I would say the biggest benefits of the EQuIP rubric have really helped teachers analyze the instructional materials that they have.
So we're going to give you time this morning to really go through that lesson. And what we'd like for you to do is to read all the materials in the packet, particularly those that apply to alignment, because in this first step, we're just going to look at alignment.
The rubric has 4 dimensions, and each of the 4 dimensions have criteria related to that area, and also each of them is rated separately. The first dimension regards alignment. The 3 criteria in Dimension 1 are alignment to the content standards of the Common Core, also alignment to the mathematical practices, and also balance, looking for a balance between procedural and conceptual understanding. Dimension 2 highlights the shifts, and what they are really are where you would expect to see changes from the standards that you might have been using previously. The 3 basic areas in the shifts are focus, coherence, and rigor. The third dimension, instructional supports, offers teachers and students support for both teaching the unit and also learning the unit. So there are several criteria in this dimension, and they include such things as there are clear directions for the teacher, but there are also some things included like there are supports for students who need extra help or who are ELL students or for students who are even working beyond grade level. The 4th dimension is assessment, and in this dimension there are criteria that address the needs of students in terms of determining whether or not they're proficient in what the standards are asking the students to do, and also supporting the teacher in that they offer answer key solutions, rubrics, and ways to interpret student performance.
And so we think that while it had a lot of strengths in the instructional supports area, as well as in the assessment area, kind of, because it wasn't hitting the targeted standards, we weren't able to check off a lot of the criteria. But acknowledged in the comments that there were a lot of areas of strength, but without that alignment, it really fell short in dimensions 1 and 2.
And our goal for this whole process is to come up with a set of exemplar units and lessons that we can publicize so that people can actually see what a quality unit that's aligned to the Common Core looks like.
Yeah, in Oregon, the rubric's been received well. The groups of folks who have reviewed the rubric find the framework helpful. The rubric involves several dimensions, and those dimensions help to provide a framework for a conversation. It separates out the pieces of quality and allows us to look at it from a constructive standpoint and a chance for us to reflect on what those materials, the units and lessons, involve.
What we hope to get from the lesson today is good, candid feedback from the other states that we can use to further polish and expand our lessons as we work from now on, continuing to finish our lessons. So participating in EQuIP is kind of like icing on the cake. We have excellent feedback from Maryland, but now we're having a chance to have discussions with folks from other states. It's very beneficial to have perspective from mathematics educators outside of Maryland to add to what we already are seeing and doing.
Within the state of Ohio, we are truly looking at utilizing the tri-state rubric to help build capacity in our educators to design lessons and units that align to the Common Core state standards so that our students are receiving instruction that's of high quality and truly ensures that they have a deep understanding of the content and provides many opportunities for them to apply what they know to a variety of different situations.
What it was able to do is then go back to Maryland and work with the teachers and actually sort of use that rubric to take a look at some of the lessons and units that we already had developed and to see what kinds of things needed to be changed, and also to use it to help develop some new lessons and units and look at all the different aspects that needed to be involved in those units.
As we see in Arizona, our next steps really are trying to build capacity across the state. We have many rural areas in Arizona that teachers really need these tools. And so we're trying to get a leadership cadre that's really been trained using the process and using the rubric so that we can really build capacity in all corners of the state.
This is what is going to be shared with educators in the field. And I think that the rubric is about ensuring that what's provided to folks meets a certain standard of quality and alignment to the standards. So I think the rubric is an incredibly powerful tool for considering quality in the products and the curriculum that we're using. And I think the opportunity to sit with people who are not normally part of the work that we do is really interesting, and also around people who focused very heavily on the same kinds of work. So colleagues who spend a lot of time thinking about math the way that I think about math, and I don't really get that opportunity very often.
At the end of the day, the goal for this work is that our country, our states, and our districts are in a position to close the achievement gap. We are in a position to compete globally. We are in a position to send all of our students to college and careers through which they will be able to make these choices for themselves. The Common Core State Standards really provides a roadmap so that teachers, so that principals, so that schools are able to provide those learning experiences which will, year after year after year, get students on that ladder so that by the time we are done with them, they are ready to participate in that larger world in a way that is productive, satisfying, and meaningful for them and for their families.